Hi, Disinformation Detox students, my wonderful students. How are you today? So, this is week 14, counter practices, and I wanted to create a video to talk to you about what we're doing this week, to thank you for your participation and your questions over the course of the semester, and to remind you that this is the last week that we are going to be learning or working on anything new in the course. Next week will be your final project, which I'll talk about in a different video. So let's talk about where we are this week and counter practices. We're going into your digital detox week. Last week, we did an analysis. I asked you to track, pay attention to your screen time. Look at how many hours you're on the phone a day, on your devices a day, where you're going on those devices, your pickups, a variety of different factors. That is a pretty good look at your relationship to your screens or your phone. So I am sure, because all of us get to this point, no matter where we are in this journey of our life with our devices and our screens, we are kind of like, maybe I shouldn't be habitually picking up my phone 300 times a day. Maybe spending 2 hours a day on TikTok isn't the best use of my time, because I find that I'm really not able to focus, I'm not able to pay attention, or maybe I'm just feeling overwhelmed with the amount of work that I need to do. And so therefore, the solution to that overwhelm is to quickly, and why not, use generative AI, because I don't have time to think. I don't want to think. Thinking is hard. Not confident. Now, of course, like if we're constantly looking at a device or we're streaming, looking at, TikTok reels or Instagram reels that are designed to make us feel a certain way and make us want to purchase something, because typically there's a ton of ads right now, especially on Instagram. I don't spend a lot of time on TikTok because I know myself, and I know that I would spend entirely too much time on TikTok. So I am speaking to you as a human being who has struggled with screen time over the course of my life, starting with television. We read QB and Csikszentmihalyi's article, Television Addiction is No Mere Metaphor, where they compared television viewing, heavy television viewing, as 4 more hours a day of having the same influence on human beings in real life. That was part of Dr. Kuby's dissertation in a book that he also wrote with Csikszentmihalyi. So this was my dissertation advisor, and Dr. Csikszentmihalyi was Dr. Kuby's dissertation advisor. He's also one of the founding fathers of what we call now positive psychology, which is really looking at well-being overall, human well-being and human flourishing. And as you can see from the title, the quality of life, what Dr. Kuby was looking at, and Dr. Csikszentmihalyi, was the idea that our viewing behaviors, and I'm going to extend that into our screen time behaviors, influence and shape, let's say shape, our everyday experiences. So what do we do about this? Because you might be saying, well, Dr. Marcello, there's no way that I can't look at a screen. I mean, some of you wrote, well, I have to do work on my laptop, and, this is how I communicate with my family. Of course, I'm not saying that we don't need the devices. What I'm saying is, how much time are we actually spending on the devices that is something that is really helping us extend our natural ability to communicate, versus something that is automatic, something that is habitual. It's just the way that we do it. And maybe we've never even thought about doing it any different way. My generation, and I am obviously older than you guys, in my generation, we have the counter experience, right? A counter environment, meaning I know what it's like to live life without being attached to a device, because I did it. But for many of you, this is the environment that you grew up in. It's natural, it's normal. I bet if I asked many of you, do you feel overwhelmed by the amount of information that you need to process in one day? You'd probably say no, because you don't know that there is another way. And the reality is, many of the things I think we're all feeling is related to this gradual creep of digital technology into every single area of our lives. In fact, I'm going to share a story with you. About 2 years ago, I started to notice that I was having a really hard time focusing attention. I was having a really hard time reading for extended periods of time, a page or two, and I would get distracted. And I was really struggling, and it really bothered me because growing up, even though I was a heavy TV viewer, I was also a very avid reader, and I could read a book in a day. So the fact that I went from being able to read a book in a day and wanting to read a book in a day to not being able to read more than 2 or 3 pages at a time without getting distracted was really, really concerning to me. And I do study this. I've been studying this for a very long time. So I said, you know what? I'm going to try to put in some practices that will help me regain my attention, and maybe I can build back the ability to focus for extended periods of time. And so slowly I started removing different devices. I started changing my digital habits. The first thing I started with, I used to wear an Apple Watch. It had notifications on it. Every time somebody texted me or an email came through or something, my wrist would buzz. This became incredibly distracting to me. So I started with turning off notifications to my watch. That helped. And then I decided I don't want to look at my phone the last thing before I go to bed or the first thing when I wake up in the morning. So I started looking for an alarm clock, a digital alarm clock that was not Wi-Fi enabled. And let me tell you, they are not easy to find anymore. But I found an alarm clock that was not connected to the internet, and I started using that. Now, I took my phone and I put it in a different part of my room because I didn't want it next to my bed. This is just for me. And I wanted to see if this affected my sleep, the quality of my sleep, if it affected how I felt in the mornings. And sure enough, it helped. And then there came a day when I was scrolling through social media and I started doom scrolling, and I could not sleep that night. And I started to worry, and I started to become very fearful. And I had a terrible night's sleep, and I woke up and I said to myself, that's it. I'm deleting all the social media apps off of my phone. Why am I doing this to myself? I have a beautiful life. I love my job. My students are wonderful. I have a great life. I have a roof over my head. I have food. I have a car. I have everything and more than I could have imagined when I was younger. What am I doing? This is crazy. I'm making myself scared from consuming social media. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to delete the apps, and I'm going to do that. I'm not deleting my accounts. Sorry, I had an itch in my eye. I'm not deleting my accounts. I'm deleting the apps. So I deleted the apps, and this was maybe 3 months ago, and it has incredibly improved the quality of my life. I have no desire to put them back on my phone. That's not to say that I don't check them, and that's not because I do, but I do it on my my desktop. And that's not to say that I don't, sort of sometimes feel like, am I missing something? But I'm going to tell you what I observed in myself after doing this over a couple of months. I observed that I don't really want to be on the devices that long. Like after about 15 minutes on Instagram looking at stories, I'm like, this is not really that interesting to me. The one place where I go and I do spend more time than I would like is LinkedIn, but that's work related, and I do get to read and see other things and what other faculty and other researchers are doing in this area that I'm really interested about. So I'm sharing my experience with you because I want you to take this week and select 2 of the counter practices that I have listed for you in the class. Now, let me say this. There are, did I say 2? You only have to pick 1. I put in 3. Sorry, I misspoke. So we have 3. The first one is meditation and breath work, and this is a demonstration that I'm very grateful to Jennifer Ka, who is a clinical yoga therapist, and I attended a Sky Happiness retreat last weekend where I learned some of these breathing techniques and meditation techniques, and Jennifer was gracious enough to provide this to you as one of the options if you're interested. You can also learn more about this if you're interested in developing a deeper meditation and breathwork practice. There's there's in the YouTube video, if you scroll down, there's some links. There is a chapter that meets on campus. I also have in there spending time with nature. So one of the things that I adopted, and I started doing this during COVID, was to make sure that I went outside every day without my device to just look around, look at my neighborhood, look at the trees, look at my neighbors' houses, observe. I'm fortunate in that I don't live far from the boardwalk and the beach, so I'm able to walk up there, walk down the boardwalk. I say hello to people. That practice has helped me be very present and aware of what's going on around me. Now, one of the things that I noticed on campus at the beginning of this semester, I stayed overnight on Cook campus at the conference in the Rutgers conference in what is it called? The conference center and inn, or inn and conference center. That's it. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to ride the Rutgers bus because I haven't ridden a Rutgers bus in 30 years. Let me give this a try. Let's see what this is like. It was very weird, and I'm going to tell you why. Because every single person on the bus had a headset on, and they were staring at their device. So when I had a question, I looked around me, and there was no one I could even ask the question to, even though we were shoulder to shoulder jammed into the bus, because everyone was in their own little information environment. And I thought that's really sad. Because one of the best things about being a student at Rutgers is all of the different people that are there that you can meet and when you talk to people that are like not people that you grew up with, that are from different parts of the world, that are different parts of New Jersey, different parts of the country, wow, it really changes the way you see your own experience. And I thought, this makes me sad, because one of the best parts about being a student at Rutgers, and oh yes, I was an undergraduate student at Rutgers like you guys, were the friends that I made. And I made those friends because I randomly asked somebody a question in class, on the bus, waiting for the bus. And so connecting with nature, maybe you can't go outside and go for a walk for 30 minutes, but maybe you can ride the Rutgers bus and not look at your phone or have your headset on and just be present on the bus with your classmates. That would also qualify. Or go for a walk in nature. Leave your device at home. Go for a walk. Look around you. Look at people. Make eye contact with them. What are you observing when you're doing this? Give your mind a break from the device that is beckoning you every single second of the day. It's exhausting. It's really exhausting. And the third thing I'm going to recommend or ask you could choose from is take time off of social media. So I deleted my devices. I deleted social media from my phone. And if you choose to do this, then you just for 2 days remove social media apps from your phone and observe how you feel for that day. Do you feel like you're missing something? Are you habitually picking up your phone to check? Like, what are the behaviors that you're displaying that maybe you have not noticed? It's not permanent, it's temporary. You may decide you like not having it on there. You may decide, well, let me try this and see if it works. I'll bring them back. And this, let me just say also this. I have tried multiple times to delete all of the apps off of my phone. This is the first time that I've been successful at it because I had just had enough. So we're going to all have a different point of what that means, but because you come to the digital environment or information environment from not having a counter environment, you grew up with the technology, I guess, and some of you may have had a counter environment depending on your family and the rules that your family may have had in place in the home, but I'm going to assume that not everybody had that. It's just a seamless integration, that's the idea. But it's so seamlessly integrated that we forget there are things to do and people to meet that are not on our device. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but we do also want to foster the ability to not have to be on the device. We want to foster the ability to reclaim our attention. And the only way to reclaim our attention when living in an environment that's constantly trying to get your attention is to create that space for yourself. So it is my hope that this week, as you go through counter practices, you select one, you tell me in handwriting, I want you to write down in a journal, like just write it down. I'm not grading your grammar. I just want you to take this time for yourself to reflect as we come to the end of the class, because they didn't want to leave you with the idea that there is nothing that we can do to make the information environment better. That is a lie. So when everyone says, well, this is just the way that it is, no, it may be that way, but it doesn't always have to be that way. This is one way that we can relate to technology and our devices. There are other ways, but we need to foster those ideas, and we need to understand that it doesn't have to be this way if we choose for it not to be that way in our lives. So I wanted to provide this to all of the classes as a way to say thank you for participating in the course, and I do hope that you're leaving the course this semester, and there'll be another video, but with a renewed sense of some of the invisible forces of the information environment. It's not that they're all bad. They're not. They're wonderful things that we can do with the technology and many efficiencies. But at what point do we say, wait a minute, I have so many things that I don't even want to read. I can't focus my attention. It's too hard to write. I'm not sure what I'm writing. So these are the areas that I want us to pause and reflect. If you have questions, reach out to me. Thank you for watching this. Sorry if I went on a rant. I didn't really write everything out like I normally would, but I just wanted to come on here and tell you that I'm really happy that you took the class. I feel like I know each of you through your writing and through the assignments, and I hope that this was an enjoyable experience for you, and that I really do hope that you will seriously take the opportunity to try for at least 2 days 2 of the digital detox strategies. These are here to help you, because we don't really know what the technology is going to look like in 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, but I know that you will still be you, and we will still be human. So, and there are certain things that as human beings that help us have a better quality of life, and that is my wish and my hope for you. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to reading your reflections, and have fun with the assignment. And it's okay if it's hard. I totally understand that, and you could put that in your reflection too. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye.